Save the Semantics, episode 81. It is July 31st, 2019. My name is Myro. This is the podcast where I talk about myself primarily. Yeah. That's what I'd say this podcast is about. It's a beautiful day today. I'm standing right in the sun, which is nice. It's not too hot, not too cold, just the way I like it. Perfect, like 78 degrees maybe. It hit maybe about 100 last week, so this is a nice change of pace. I forgot when I recorded it last. It's been a little while. It's been maybe like a week and a half or so since I've recorded. Some things have happened, some things have stayed the same. I'd say most things have stayed the same. It's been all right. It's been a pretty solid passage of time, you know. End of July, going into August. So slowly going through summer, about halfway through, maybe more or less, you know, because ended off the school year about midway through June, around June 14, I believe, was when I finished classes last, or when I had my final test. So yeah, about a month and a half or so. I think an extra. I think I have 2 more months remaining. I think that's the right amount of time left. You know, the amount of time for me to get some things that I want to do done, you know. I don't know what exactly. Always setting goals. But, you know, enough time for me to kind of long for school, you know. It's definitely going to be weird next year when I won't have that same transition period of going back into an academic setting. I've thought about it a little bit, honestly. I've thought about of maybe going to graduate school, but I just don't know. It might be too late to really plan for that. I also don't really want to go into debt like a lot of other people, you know. So maybe it's a possibility to go back to school another time. I don't know how that process works, you know, like go back into, you know, graduate school or anything like that. I don't know. It's something to think about for sure. I don't know. I just have sort of this longing to learn new things, you know. I think that with this next and final year, like I just sort of, it's just wrapping things up, you know, and then I won't be, you know, it's possible that it'll be my last time being in like an academic setting, and I don't know if it's really something that I want, because I do want to continue to learn, and I've talked about it before, but I just don't know how motivated I will be to learn about new things outside of school. Like, of course, you know, there's ways I can teach myself, there's ways I can learn new things. I've learned a lot of new things outside of school, of course, but just being in that setting, having that kind of teacher or professor-student relationship is something that I'm gonna miss for sure. You know, I do enjoy school. It's like a love kind of. It's not really a hate. I don't hate school. It's like a love and dislike relationship. There's a lot of things, you know, that I dislike about, you know, the academic curriculum and stuff like that. But the majority of the time, I have enjoyed learning things. I've always been like that. I've always enjoyed going to school and stuff. Of course, you know, it comes with time. Like high school, I started to feel fatigue and stuff like that. Of course, fatigue comes with generally any setting when you have an overabundance of it, you know. But I think that the college setting has somewhat suited me well for the most part. I feel that I've benefited from the type of schedule that it's based on, and the teaching styles. I haven't had really any too unfortunate experiences with professors. Of course, I've mentioned it before, you know, past professors that weren't that great, but other than that, it's you know, few and far in between. So Yeah, I think reflecting on these past 3 years has kind of given this. I've grown more appreciative of this experience in general, I guess, and just school in general, I think it's really just gone by. Like I've thought about, every step of the way, preschool or, yeah, preschool, and then, elementary, middle school, and then high school, now college. Is just sort of this sort of step by step of, this growth in character and all that stuff. I'd say it's been good to me. I'm fortunate enough to have been raised in an area where education is valued, so I think that should definitely be taken accounted for. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just sort of in a very reflective mood at the moment. That's sort of where I'm at. So yeah, going into my final year, it's just this is probably going to be a topic of discussion for the next like for the next 2 years. So just anticipate that. In terms of just general things or just like specific things that I wanted to talk about, I've just kind of been hanging out. I've just been relaxing. Today's sort of my day off for everything really, which has been nice. Just not really a lazy day, but just a relaxing day. Just not really having any plans or anything like that. It's just been kind of a nice change of pace. I think that's sort of the way I like to operate, and being that the weather is so nice, I've kind of had time to enjoy it and stuff. So yeah, it's been good for the most part. I think the only gripe that I've had for the last few days is that I believe it was Monday. Monday I was trying to well, I'll just start from the beginning, but I was trying to get my Nintendo Switch JoyCon fixed, and this is a pretty common issue that a lot of other people have had. But the joystick for the Joy-Con tends to drift in a certain direction. Mine tended to drift upwards. So say I was like playing like Fortnite or something like that, my character would always like move forward without me, touching the analog stick or the joystick. So that's something that I wanted to fix. So I ordered this like a toolkit to fix my Joy-Con. I ordered it from Amazon for about $16. That was before shipping, and yeah, I got it. And I was trying to fix it Monday. I followed all the steps. There was sort of a step-by-step kind of like handbook, and I followed that, and I thought I fixed it. I fixed the joystick part, but then the buttons were all fucked up. It's a very delicate machine. Like, I opened it up, and like I feel like it can be so easily broken, which is kind of what, it's probably the way it was designed, right? Like a lot of other things which can easily be broken, so you have to purchase another one. But I was sort of set myself forth. I was like, all right, I'm going to fix it for once. I'm not good with the kind of dealing with these kinds of things, like very detail-oriented tasks, like, I don't know, fixing like a electrical wires, stuff like that. I just can't deal with that because I get too frustrated with myself. And then sure enough, I got frustrated because like there were way too many like moving parts. There were too many pieces. Like the motherboard was in the way of like me trying to get underneath it to remove the busted joystick. And in that process, like I shifted like the buttons around because they're very like finicky. It's like super. It's sort of like a plasticky feel. Like I wish. Like I know Nintendo released that they're gonna release a new Nintendo Switch which is whatever. I don't know if I'm gonna purchase it because it's probably gonna cost a lot of money, but And I think they're gonna release. They said they're gonna release a new JoyCon model too, which hopefully, fixes all the, stupid issues that so many other people have. So I tried to fix my joystick by removing it and replacing it with a new one, but in the process I kind of fucked it up, so I had to open it back up again. And then once I, shifted the buttons back in place, then the stick started to fuck up again because I think I removed the wirings from the battery that connects to the motherboard, and then I was like, God fucking damn it! So I just threw it out because I just didn't have the patience to just troubleshoot it over and over again. So I just went to GameStop and bought a new one, and then I bought a used version, which is whatever. I was just kind of like, in that moment, I just was just whatever. I just wanted to play a game at that point, so I just bought a new left Joy-Con, and it's had basically the same problem as mine, except it drifts to the left instead of up. So that's that. Maybe I'll try to replace the joystick again if I ever have the patience. It's not like games aren't unplayable by any means. It's just annoying. It's just annoying to deal with the fact that it fucking drifts, and you have to like whenever I'm trying to view menu options, like it goes to the left instead of me wanting to go in another direction. So it's a little frustrating at times, but I've been able to manage for the most part. I just wish they like put a little more care into the controllers, because it still feels like kind of cheap. Like I feel like the design of the controllers are pretty like is pretty well done for the most part. Like having the fact that you can detach the controller and then place it into like a main sort of pro controller style thing and play it on like the TV when you transfer it over to like the docking port. Like that's cool and all, like it's cool that you're able to do that, but it's just the fact that it just feels like a cheap plastic kind of accessory sort of undoes it for me, which is unfortunate, because everything else about the Nintendo Switch I love. I like the fact, but the majority of the time I'm playing it portably. That's just an easy way to play it. I don't have to like hook it up to the TV or anything like that. But yeah, like everything else about the machine I love. It's great, but I just wish the controllers weren't such an issue that I have to like scramble around to try to get a new one or a new part of it. So yeah, that's sort of been my that's been my major gripe, I guess. But it is what it is. I've been playing Dragon's Dogma, which is a pretty old game by now. They released a port of it on the Switch about a few months ago, so I've been playing that for a little while now. I've reached essentially the end of the game. It's a pretty short game for the most part. Like, it's pretty fun. I think I do have some issues with it. The transportation system I'm not the biggest fan of. The story is semi-interesting. I just wish the character interactions were a bit more fleshed out. The combat's probably the best part. It's the most fun. Just the fact that you can like climb onto monsters and like beasts, like Shadow of the Colossus style, is fun. And yeah, it's been a good experience. I just wish there's some things that can probably be improved on. But I've put in maybe about 30 hours into the game, which is about the average of what most other people have put in. And yeah, it's been fun. I've also been playing like Tetris and stuff like that. I've been kind of wanting to get back into Smash, because I know they released like a bunch of like DLC. They released the new DLC character from Dragon Quest, which is great. I've always wanted the Dragon Quest series to get a bit more love in the West, and now that like the Dragon Quest XI is getting localized in the US, I'm happy about that, because then I can finally have like that experience on like a home console, which is pretty cool. and yeah, but I've been trying to get back into like Smash and stuff, but I again, it kind of comes down to like the controller issue. It's like I don't know how well I can really play Smash with, the fucking the the drift, So we'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll try to fix it or whatever. But yeah, that's been that. I've also been kind of trying to. I've just kind of been like just watching stuff, watching stuff on like Netflix and like YouTube and stuff like that. So nothing too crazy by any means. I watched the. It's been out for a little while now, but I finally got around to watching the Fyre documentary. For those who don't know, the Fyre documentary is about the failed Fyre Festival, which was held in the Bahamas back in like 2017. And what happened was there's this one kind of tech entrepreneur. I think his name was like Billy something, and him and like Ja Rule were sort of setting forth this crazy exclusive music festival in the Bahamas where tickets were like an outrageous price of like $4,000 per pass, and they were advertising it through like Instagram models and like musicians and stuff like that. Primarily like the big Instagram models like Kendall Jenner and like I don't know who the other supermodels are, but they were posting these taglines on Instagram that were like #Fyre Festival, where they only like they just posted a picture of like an orange background, and that caught people's attention. It went viral, and then it was just like a shit show from that point on. Just everything from like the housing to the like the musical stage and just everything, the marketing, everything just was such a shit show. It was entertaining to watch, but it was also sad to watch because a lot of people got screwed in the process. Especially I felt most bad for the people that were like the local people of the islands, 'cause they got the most screwed over. They were the manual laborers, the restaurant owner especially. They all got screwed over. They didn't get a single cent. I really don't care about like the people, like the attendees. Like from what they showed, they just seemed kind of, I don't know, they seemed ignorant, and they seemed just very I don't know. There was a guy that was just talking about there was a whole sequence where like when the attendees arrived on like the island and like they found the housing was just fucking tents basically. There were these guys that were just trying to like steal all the mattresses and shit, and they were like pissing on the tents, and it's like it's just a bunch of scumbags, It's like a lot of entitled guys, who spent $4,000 for a music festival. I really don't really have a whole lot of empathy for that, and they seem to have like money too, so it's like I don't really care too much about that. I feel bad for the people who who felt like this is going to be this is going to be like this is going to bring tourists over. We're going to have jobs for the time being. We'll make a decent amount of money because there's this tech entrepreneur who can pay us well and stuff like that. But nope, none of that happened. They didn't get paid a single cent, which is fucking bullshit. It's so ridiculous. And I wish maybe in a way they focused a little bit more on that, like how screwed those people got. Because they mostly they showed it from like the perspective of like the Fyre team, and like I don't know, they did take ownership in a sense, but like they never really addressed like they really only cared about themselves, which is kind of which is sort of suspected, or expected, but like I don't know, it's just such a shit show. There's a lot of egos clashing, and there was just such a fucking phenomenal shit show, right? Like it's entertaining from start to finish, but I also just kind of sort of have a disdain for those types of people that sort of are trying to be all glamorous, like, oh, we're gonna put the biggest show ever, right? For what? Like, and for who? like it's not really like a. It feels less of like an artistic ambition and just much more of like, well, the whole thing was to promote the Fyre app, which is meant to request and book like these huge artists, right? So if you are like a rich, I don't know, rich yuppie in New York City, and you want to book, let's say you want to book, who's poppin'? You want to book Little Nas X for your birthday party at your penthouse. Well, you could do that with the app, you know. The app doesn't, you know, the whole thing failed because, you know, they lost all their money putting it into the festival and stuff like that. But yeah, that was sort of like the thing. But yeah, like I know like artistic is like sort of a stretch of the word there, and it doesn't really necessarily apply to the festival. But it's so shallow. It's just a marketing tactic. It's just advertisement. It's just there's not really like a passion, you know. The dude who had the vision of doing that, it's like it's not even, you know, he just wanted that because like, oh, he experienced it, so he wanted other people to experience it too, you know. Because the original like advertisement for the festival, which featured all the supermodels, was like a party in itself. Like people within the crew said. So it's like I don't know. It just feels so shallow and kind of vain, and a lot of these people just really have no insight, and they just don't care. You know, they just want product in people's, you know, heads. The supermodels, they don't care either because they're getting paid a shit ton of money to just hang out and stuff like that. And that whole, it's just so, everything is just very, I keep saying this, but it's just very shallow and just very surface kind of level. It's just like, oh, look how glamorous it is. You know, that's just basically the whole thing. And they're trying to sell like a product to you and stuff. So I don't know. Like I think it's a good lesson for people that are sort of in that level of like, you know, level of wealth and level of notoriety, I guess, you know, that just that it's sort of like, you know, you flew too close to the sun kind of, I guess, analogy is a good way to describe it. So I think it's good that it failed. It's unfortunate that a lot of, you know, the local people of like Barbados and the Bahamas got screwed over that. But I think that a lot of people, you know, can learn from that and not put your money just based on faith and based on just like this kind of charisma that's like falsely exaggerated. Because it felt very like the way Billy was described by a lot of these people. It's very like, it's cultish. Like he seemed like kind of like he has like the potential to be like a cult leader, and that's kind of what it was. You know, like this false idea or this idea that's just far too grandiose in nature, that just can't really be reached because because it's unreasonable, you know. It's way too much work, and not enough money and not enough brains to back the project up, you know. It was gonna be a failure from the start. And I think that you know, a lot of people can sort of look at that and be like, okay, maybe we shouldn't invest our money into a music festival that just takes place on the islands, you know, because it's unreasonable for that to even happen. So yeah, that's probably going to do it for the podcast today. This has been Save the Semantics, signing off.